Guys, welcome to the Dynamic Leaders page. I'm Norman Hartman. So glad to have you guys here with me for yet another dynamic topic. God gives money to the investor. And I know you guys are ready to jump right into this one, but let's set the groundwork first because the context is extremely important to this conversation. So I want to define two terms. Firstly, I want to define money. And secondly, we're going to define the investor, okay? So money. It's important to understand that money is a tool that allows you to take advantage of opportunities, okay? So money is more than tens, 20s, and hundreds, dollar bills, cents, things like that. Money represents the resources that we use in order to take advantage of opportunities, right? So we think about the things that we love to do. We think about all of the different things that we want to take advantage of in life, like it, love it, or hate it. But most of those things require money of us, right? So money is important. And we're going to expand or broaden the context of money in just a moment here. Secondly, I want to define the investor. So what is an investor? An investor is simply someone that uses an asset in order to increase value. So whether you're using cash, you're using a house, or even an idea that comes into your head, that investor is able to take that resource or that asset, put it to work in order to increase the return or value of something. Okay, so when you put these two definitions together, what do you get? You get a person that is able to use a tool in order to take advantage of an opportunity in order to increase the value or return. And why is this important to us? This is very important to us because God is not interested in giving resources, tools, and opportunities to people who are wasteful, okay? People who are poor managers, people who are not ready to manage these things. And so it's important that we understand how God thinks about money, what God thinks about resources, so that we allow ourselves as leaders in order to take advantage of these opportunities. Okay? There's a saying that youth is wasted on the young. In other words, another way of saying that is that as we get older, we're supposed to become wiser. And all of us have said this at some point or another. If you haven't, keep living. If I knew then what I know now, right? In other words, if I was able to take what I know now, what I've learned over the past 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, and cram all that information into who I was in the past, that I'll be so much further along. I'll be able to do so much more with the opportunities. And those are the types of things that we're talking about. And it's truly the tip of the iceberg because we can be so much better at managing what we already have. So I want to tell you about the first step of managing what you already have by talking about this guy by the name of Joseph. So Joseph was in the Bible. God gave him this dream and this vision. Huge was his dream and was his vision. But God revealed his dream and his vision through a process, through steps, okay? So it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen over the course of a few years. It happened over the course of many years, okay? And so we have to look at the visions and the dreams that we have and put them in context. But before we even look at the context of a dream, I want you to realize sometimes the first resource that God gives you is not a dollar, it's not a cent, it's not a business, it's not a home, but it is a dream. It is an idea. It is something that is intangible that you are supposed to use or mold or be aware that there's a process that's about to take place that God wants you to be involved in. And we don't always acknowledge those dreams. Yes, we acknowledge them from the standpoint of I would like to become something. I would like to become a CEO or I would like to become an entrepreneur, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about truly acknowledging, there's a word that my pastor used on this Sunday, but truly acknowledging every good thing that God has placed on the inside of you, truly acknowledging the gifts and the talents, the opportunities that you have, whether it be a job, whether it be even a volunteer opportunity, and it's time for you to start maximizing those opportunities, okay? And in the place that within the place you are in now, it's important that you understand the importance of gratitude. Because a lot of us think that we're ready for steps that we truly are not ready for. And I can tell you one of the easiest giveaways or one of the dead giveaways that you're not ready to take on more responsibility is whether or not you complain about where you are right now. See, some of us, we want six-figure opportunities. We want million-dollar opportunities. We want larger management opportunities to become a CEO or to become a business owner. But we're complaining about our problems, our $30,000 problems. We're complaining about our $40,000 problems. See, God is not interested in just giving you resource without responsibility. Sure, you're ready for more resource. Sure, you're ready for six figures. Sure, if somebody gave you $1 million, you'd find some way to spend it. But that's not what we're talking about. If you want to do that, you can go and do that yourself. But God gives responsibility with resource. And so if you're not ready for the responsibility, then don't expect the resource to increase or the resource to be there at this time. And it's statistically proven that people who receive resource without being ready to handle the responsibility find a way to get rid of it fast. These are people that win the lottery. These are people that receive inheritances. These are people that have all sorts of things that come in that were unexpected into their life, and they find a way as a consumer to spend or squander that money. And look it up, it's statistically proven. And so I'm not advocating receiving resource without responsibility. So one of the first steps that you need to attack is being grateful, maintaining gratitude, stop the complaints, because the complaints are killing your opportunity to move forward. The second thing is, going back to what I said, that God shows you this big picture. He shows you this big vision, but then it's almost oxymoronical in that he does it in phases. So God showed Joseph this vision that ultimately meant that he was going to be second in command over all Egypt, and not just have influence in his nation, but several nations that came from around the country to receive food and the resources that they need. But what was the first step for Joseph? What was phase one? Phase one was slavery. His brothers sold him into slavery because they were jealous of the vision and the dream that he had. Now, he may have not executed wisdom in the way that he shared it. However, he was sold into slavery, and that was step one. So it doesn't make sense sometimes, the step one that God sends us into from the vision, the big vision that he gave us. God shares with us his vision, or we have this desire to become a CEO, and then we're sweeping the floors right now. Or we have this desire to have this multi-million-dollar company that we're going to use to create infrastructure, to create kingdoms, to set up programs and systems. But maybe you're going through financial hardship right now. So it doesn't align at all. Your phase one doesn't align at all with the big picture, overall picture of where you're going. So it's important to understand how God thinks. It's important to understand how God works. Okay, and this brings me to the third point. How do we effectively manage where we are? How do we understand how God works? Okay, so we have to become better managers of where we are. We have to be grateful for it. But in order to become better managers of where we are, what we have right now, we have to create focus, a center of focus. But in order to create focus, you have to create time. Okay, so if you don't have time, then you're not going to be able to prioritize the things that you have going on in your life. You're not going to have a center of focus, which means that you're going to mishandle, you're going to mismanage the resources that come into your life. They're not going to be with an extreme amount of focus. It's going to be general, and because you are focusing on, or you're operating off of generalities, you're not ready to manage. You're not ready to manage next levels, or you're not ready to manage more responsibility because you're mismanaging what you have right now. Okay, so I'll say that again. We must become better managers, more effective managers. And in order to do that, we have to become more effective managers of focus. We have to become focused, and we cannot become focused until we have created more time. What do we do when we create time? We create time so that God can speak to us. We create time so that God can show things to us. We create time so that God can bring opportunities into our life. And if you're so busy doing what it is that you're doing right now, being on autopilot by routine, or routinely mismanaging your life and not stopping the noise, then guess what? You're not creating the time, you're not creating the opportunity for God to speak to you, to create you in being a better manager. And here's the benefit of that. you becoming a better manager means that you are ready for the next step. And what happens when you're ready for the next step? Get ready for resources. Because when you're ready for resources, that also means that you're ready to take on the responsibility. So God gives money to the investor is not just tens, 20s, hundreds. It's about God giving you tools. It's about God bringing you before opportunities. Why? Because he can trust you with them. So I want you guys to go out, manage yourselves accordingly, go back, listen to this video, subscribe to this channel, and I want you guys to take this information out and use it in your day. So go out, be great, and I will see you guys next time, okay? Take care.